Have you ever felt like you're just moving through the world but not really seeing it? Well, today we're going to change all that. We are putting on our geographer's glasses to see the invisible forces that really truly shape our lives.
So let me ask you this. As you go about your day, are you just passing through places, or do you ever stop and think, why is everything laid out the way it is? Why is that coffee shop on that specific corner? Or why does traffic always snarl up on that one stretch of highway?
Well, believe it or not, geographers have a kind of secret toolkit to answer all those questions. It's a set of ideas that lets them see the world in a totally different way. And today, we're going to open up that toolkit for you so you can start seeing the hidden logic that's all around us. So let's dive in.
Okay, first up, we've got to get our heads around the most basic building block of geography. And that's the difference between a simple empty space and a meaningful place.
Think of it like this. Space is just the raw material. It's the empty stage, right? It's abstract, it's just geometry. But a place is what happens when we humans step onto that stage and fill it with meaning, memories, and personality. A place has a story. A classroom is the perfect example. An empty room with 4 walls and a floor? That's just a space. But the moment a teacher puts up posters, arranges the desks, and creates a real learning environment, bam, it becomes a place for education. We do this all the time, turning empty spaces into meaningful places. So, how do we actually talk about and navigate all these places? I mean, sure, we could use coordinates, but that's not really how people talk, is it? Instead, we almost always use what's called relative location. It's not about a fixed point on a map. It's all about how one place connects to everything else around it. You do this constantly without even realizing it. You're not going to tell your friend to meet you at 40.7128 degrees north latitude. No way! You're going to say, it's the cafe right next to the bookstore, or it's just a 5-minute walk past the park. See? Relative location isn't a number, it's a story. It's location with context. All right, so now we can see individual places, but let's zoom out a bit, because when you start to look at how all these places connect to each other, you see something pretty amazing. You start to see patterns. There is a hidden order to our world. A huge part of this hidden order is all about movement, which geographers have a great word for: flows. And I want you to think beyond just cars on a road. Flows are everything. The people, the packages, the information, the ideas, all constantly moving across space. This theme park idea is perfect. The park's paths, those are the connections. But the flow is that massive wave of people rushing from the main gate toward the brand new roller coaster right when the park opens. If you understand that flow, you understand how the whole park really works. But wait a minute. These flows don't just happen out of nowhere. They're totally shaped by how things are arranged on the ground. So that begs the question, how are things arranged? Well, geographers have names for these arrangements, and here are the big ones. Things can be clustered together, like all the theaters and restaurants in a city's downtown arts district. Or they can be dispersed, spread out, like farmhouses in the countryside. They can also be linear, like a string of motels and gas stations all lined up along a major highway. Once you start looking for these, you'll see them everywhere. Okay, so we've seen how things are arranged. But why are they arranged that way? Well, the answer comes down to this incredibly powerful, invisible force that pretty much governs everything: distance. This brings us to a huge idea in geography, something you already know intuitively. It's called distance decay. It just means that the farther away something is, the less likely you are to interact with it. Your connection to it literally decays over distance. I mean, just look at this chart. It makes perfect sense, right? A friend who lives 2 miles away, yeah, you're probably going to see them all the time. But a friend who lives 200 miles away, the time, the effort, the cost, it all adds up. And the chance of that visit just plummets. This one simple idea explains so much, from where you buy your groceries to how ideas spread. But here is where things get really interesting. For basically all of human history, distance decay was like a law of physics. It was unbreakable. But then, something happened that started to tear up the rulebook. And that something is what has defined our modern world. Technology is shrinking the planet. Not literally, of course. The physical distance between London and New York is the same. But the time and cost to cross that distance have been absolutely crushed. The world feels smaller. Geographers call this time-space compression. And this timeline is it's staggering. A journey that took weeks on a sailboat
now takes just a few hours on a jet. And with the internet, the interaction, the communication, it's instantaneous. The space between those two massive cities has been completely compressed by technology.
And this isn't just some cool academic concept. No, time-space compression is the engine that drives modern globalization. It's the reason your phone can be designed in California, built in China, with parts from South Korea, and sold to you in Germany. It has completely rewired how our world works.
So what we're saying is that technology has totally changed the relative location of places. London feels a whole lot closer to New York now. But there's one thing that technology can't change, and that's a place's absolute location.
This is a place's exact mathematical address on planet Earth, its latitude and longitude. The Eiffel Tower is right here, and it will always be right here, at these exact coordinates. It's precise, it's fixed, it is absolute. And you need both types of location to really understand the world.
So let's do a quick recap of our new toolkit. Step 1, you see the difference between raw space and a meaningful place. Step 2, you start to spot the patterns and flows that connect them. Step 3, you get how distance makes things harder. And step 4, you see how technology is constantly fighting against that distance, compressing it.
And that's really the core of it. A place is just a space with a story. Patterns and flows show you the hidden logic of how things are laid out. And the great story of our modern world is this constant tug-of-war between the friction of distance and the incredible power of technology.
So next time you're out and about, look around. I mean, really look around. Don't just see streets and buildings. Look for the patterns. Look for the flows. Look for the stories that are turning all that empty space into a meaningful place. So my question for you is, now that you have the toolkit, what invisible patterns will you see tomorrow?